Hello everyone, and welcome back to The Forge. In today's episode of 10 Minute Studies, we'll be looking at the ribcage. Yay! Yes. So, the ribcage seems to be, at least in my mind, is quite a central piece of anatomy when dealing with at least the human structure, and also in many other creatures, because vertebrates, or animals with spines, like even dogs and cats, seem to usually have a rib cage surrounding their things, and I think it could be also useful, like as a piece of work for studying insects and like. So anyway, yes, I guess we're kind of on a anatomy roll here. I'm not sure if that's the right expression, but yes. So today we shall be studying rib cage. So starting timer in 3, 2, 1. Okay, so this is initially what I believed the rib cage to look like. Of course, here I'd maybe make it a little longer. Yes? Okay. So this is my initial thoughts on what I imagine the ribcage to look at. It's just a little bit of starting point to see where we end up. So, bit of a comparison for later. So, if we look at some reference, yay, reference, because without reference, it's almost impossible to learn much. Anyway, yes, I found this reference photo for the ribcage, and let's just try breaking it down. So, okay, one thing I immediately notice is that normally when I draw the ribcage, I try to first, okay, so if I'm starting with the skull, for example, then I would draw the skull, like just a simple skull, maybe a little taller, and then I draw maybe the spine, yes, the straight line, the first straight line, and then I try simplifying the opening as like something like this, so that I have an easy way to understand the perspective relative to the thing, to the eyes to the skull. So in this case, if this perspective were up here, then we'd be looking down at the skull, so it will be slightly open, something like this. That's just what I would imagine. But that's what I do normally. But it seems here that, that may not be applicable, because if we look over here, the opening seems to be more like, more open, towards the top, like pointing towards the front, so something like this, as opposed to completely flat, which is what I've been simplifying it as. So, I'm not sure if this can be useful. I mean, I suppose it could be used as a way to kind of connect, because it does seem to connect to the spine this way. I'm not sure if that's correct. It might just be the perspective. Perhaps looking at some other reference could enlighten us. Yes, here we go. So, if you see here, it does seem to do that. Okay, so, I suppose one way to look at it is, if we have the spine, so this is for the neck, and then it goes out like that, which we learned in our neck lesson way back when. Anyway, you see here that the rib cage actually connects something like this. Okay, and then comes down, and then, it actually goes up like this. So I guess that's another insight. The rib cage seems to be kind of perpendicular. Maybe a different color could help us better see this. So the rib cage seems to be a sort of perpendicular mass. Yes, because I usually thought of it as like maybe an egg. So it's like front to the front, round at the front, and then it kind of aligns with the spine in the back. That may not be the case. Oh yes, I have heard that there are like these extra bones at the back that don't fully connect to the overarching arc. Anyway, so yeah, I guess that's nice to know. So if you're drawing a side view at least, you may be able to use this. So if you're drawing a person, something like this, then you could be like, okay, there's the rib cage, connects it like this, and then you'd have the what was it called again? I'm sorry. It's been so long since I tried to say these names. Yes, the area where the legs come out. Yes. So, anyway, that's interesting to note. So the rib cage is more like this. That's okay. I think that could be useful. So I guess creating a nail layer. Maybe it would be good now to, okay, so going back to our original photo, to kind of break down what we're seeing here. Maybe going to a different reference. That's kind of difficult to see. Yes, okay, back to the original reference. If you see here, it seems to be that the opening actually connects to the spine. So if we have the spine here, then the opening kind of connects to the top, like so. And then we have, of course, the sternum, I believe. It's kind of like a kind of in Peck's book of anatomy, he says that it's kind of like a knife, and then the knife is being held up by a string, which is like the clavicle. So I just thought that was a nice way to think of it. And of course, the string can be like this. And anyway. So we have our sternum, and then from the sternum, it splits off, creating our two like branching paths. So you can actually feel this right now if you like, and you'll see that if you go to the end of the sternum, like from the middle of your chest, there's this hard bone that I'm tapping, and hopefully you don't find it too disturbing. So there's the sternum, sternum bone, which connects downward to here, and then it splits off into the two suppose wings. So I guess you could see it looks kind of like a wing, like a bug wing, like that. Anyway, after that we come back up, connecting to the big shape, which is so this is much bigger now. Okay, much bigger than I originally thought. So it comes down like this, like so. Okay, in the back, oh, it seems the rib cage actually is kind of like this, because I always imagined the rib cage to be something like if you're looking in 3D space, then like from the side it would be like this. Oh, maybe using 3/4 view, something like this. So then it would be up here, sternum, and then it would be something like this where it came back and then came down. So from the front, I thought maybe you would see something like, so there would be the opening, and then I thought you saw something like this maybe, but that does not seem to be the case, which is good to know. Anyway, so yes, it seems to be kind of like two wings, kind of like a shape, like so, and then it bends backwards in space, so it uses like a lower opacity, like so, and then it's filled up with, of course, the lungs, and most likely the heart somewhere behind there, the sternum. It's nice and protected, which is good. So lungs go inside here. And interesting to note is that the lungs seem to be like situated like so. It would be good to know how to best protect our lungs. Anyway, so that's that. I guess maybe they don't serve too much of a purpose unless you're planning to do some sort of anatomical study or training for medical student. Anyway, so that's where the lungs seem to go. And then, oh wait, maybe I should keep that in for anyone who would like to see. Anyway, I'm so sorry. So, lungs. Sorry, lungs. Okay, there we go. And then, of course, we have our clavicles. So I'll just use this for the past bones. Okay, scapulas in the back. Yes, then with these kind of curve last time. They kind of go straight down like blades and then curve around with the ribcage. Yes, and if we see over here, yeah, that's essentially it. It's kind of like I guess an egg shape, except it's wingy at the end. So if we look at the proportions, that might be good to note. If we zoom out a little bit, go to the proportion section, maybe, we have, okay, if we come over here, it seems to be about halfway when it gets to the sternum. So if you have the sternum over here, then it should be about half, and then half. So I guess that might be a good way to segment it. So if you were interested in knowing how far the ribcage goes, like especially for the outside area, because when you draw somebody, usually you want to know how far the straight areas are, or if you're trying someone without a shirt, then you can maybe estimate where the rib marks. I'm not sure that's what it's called, but rib marks might go. So yeah, it's about halfway from the sternum. So if you're on a sternum, it's about halfway, so down here. So you can use that as a proportion, a marker, I guess. Yay! Learning. Anyway. So, moving to a new layer now. I suppose it might be a good idea to look at the muscles. Oh yes, so it's like this, and maybe from the side view. Yes. So, proportionally speaking, might be good to have one with a head. Okay, there. So head seems to be around maybe one sternum inside, and then so it's about almost 2 heads tall, according to this reference. And maybe we can look at a few others, hopefully, if we have the time. Let's see here. Not too promising. I'm sorry if anyone is seeing weird stuff. Head. Perhaps. No. No. Okay. Okay. I'm sorry for showing that. So, quickly then. Ribcage. Skin. Sorry. Okay. Please don't be anything strange. Okay. There we go. So, if you look at this skin model of the ribcage, references sometimes scare me. Anyway, so we have the skull over here. I'll try to use orange, and then of course the spine, and then we have our rib cage right here, which goes upwards and then connects downwards like so. We have our sternum, which is about a head, skull tall, wings, and oh yes, these are actually quite outward, so they go out like this. It might be a good way to think of it. And then these connect to the spine, of course. And up here, oh, the head is probably a little bit higher, yes, like so. And clavicles. Anyway, so the skin seems to maybe go something like this. There's probably some sort of muscle group over here, which bulges this area, and then it goes out like this, of course, and then we have the neck, and yes. So, this is probably where you get those rib cage marks. That sounds good. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Okay. Oh, I have mismanaged my time in this one. Anyway, so to quickly recap or go over what we learned today. A new layer, so active recall. Yes, quite a powerful learning tool. So, from the ribcage seems to be a central part of many creatures, and it from the front it is actually slightly bent forward like so. So then you draw like this, like so. And of course this connects up to the skull up here and clavicles and such. So I think it might be good if you would like to simplify this, then you could draw like this, like maybe an oval with its tops cut off, like so. Then you'd get something like this. Or it might be good to highlight the other areas, draw the other areas. Like erase these parts and voila, ribcage. Maybe, that's just maybe one way to go about it, because it does seem to be oval based. Or from the front even, you could go something like this and then just cut off this part. And yeah, oh, that actually works quite well. Because my problem, I guess, I suppose my problem really quickly with the ribcage is that I continuously make it too like round-ish. So this should probably help. Of course, if you're pushing things and trying to develop a style or caricature, then round ribcage could actually be quite pleasing to the eye, especially if you're drawing maybe like a cutie character, like a character with different proportions, of course. Yes. Anyway, so after that, there seems to be a muscle group over here and here, which kind of bulges it out and connects it to the arm. So this might be where the, if I were to guess, then it might be where the scapula connects to the arm, because it does seem to require a bit of muscle. And shoulders, scapula, clavicle, yes, clavicle, scapula. So after that, I suppose that's about it. The sternum is here, and it seems to be about 2 sternums tall from the top. Oh, or maybe, yeah, from the top. Yes, about 2 sternums tall, and each sternum is around the height of a skull. So you can say it's around, so if there was a skull, really quickly, there's a different color. Quickly, so, just keep these short. So if we have a skull, then we can say the sternum is about this tall, and then the reef cage should be about that tall. So then, it's like that. So that might be interestingly proportioned. Oh yes, and using the oval, you could probably get a more accurate contour. Anyway, I guess that shall conclude today's lesson on the ribcage. So, I hope that everyone, you, the viewer, were able to maybe, hopefully, gain a little bit of useful information today. I know I certainly did, and if this helps you at all, then wonderful. If not, then I'm sorry for wasting some of your time. But as we continue on this journey, hopefully I shall get better at conveying the information that we... Anyway, I guess that shall conclude today's 10-minute study. So hopefully I shall see you tomorrow with one more, or see you next time with another 10-minute study. So, yay! I wonder what we shall study then. Thank you, and have a nice day. Goodbye.